Welcome to Anime Fanjutsu, where we talk all things anime. So we are back after a very long hiatus. I moved to Ohio, a lot of stuff happened, and we're like back at it now. So today we have Becky,
Christian,
Julian,
and Julian. Julian is new today. Julian, tell us your 3 favorite anime.
it's gonna be really basic, but it is Full Metal Alchemist, Attack on Titan, and then One Piece.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or Full Metal Alchemist Original?
Brotherhood.
Good choice. What is your favorite anime opening of all time?
Going off of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, definitely Rain, the last.
Oh, that's a good
opening
one.
for it.
It's on the playlist. And what is your favorite ending?
Shokugeki, the ending for Attack on Titan, the final season, part 1.
Yeah, the final season, part 1, because the final season is several seasons.
it's almost over.
It is almost over. Levi. I only watch it for Levi. He is my favorite character. Who's your favorite character of all time, Julian?
That's a tough question. I'd probably have to say, are we including manga or just?
Just anime.
Just anime? I would say Luffy.
Luffy. What about now? What about in manga?
I really like the villain from Ajin, Demi-Human, Sato.
So tell me about Ajin, because this is something you love that I don't really know about.
Yeah, so it's set in essentially like our world, except there's a group of people that when they die, they immediately like come back and regenerate in like the same form as they were before any damage came to them. It's a very small group of people, and very few people are it. But essentially, a major thing is the main character ends up becoming a demi-human, which is the people who can regenerate, and is used by the Japanese government for experiments. And a guy tries to break him out, but he's also definitely not a morally correct character. He ends up being, I won't spoil anything.
So like if Doctor Who was a little shady in an anime or manga.
I read some of it. It's good, but I need to actually read more of it. I read like maybe the first 2 volumes.
And when they regenerate, they are like the same person, same appearance, same like skills and everything. So it's kind of like Doctor Who in that there is regeneration, but they're like the same person. It's very good.
I'll have to check that out. So right now the only manga that I read regularly is Black Clover. Comes out every Sunday. So it's my Sunday ritual. I read Black Clover. And sometimes I'll read My Hero Academia. But I don't like reading it before I watch it because I prefer anime to manga. The only reason I usually ever read it is because I'll be watching a show and it'll go on like hiatus, and then I have to know what happened. So then I'll go read it. On the Viz app. So if anybody didn't have the Viz app, it's like $1.99 a month, and you get all of Shonen Jump on your phone, which is amazing. I don't have the next 10 years to dedicate my life to reading all of One Piece. That is so long.
Now I read it every week. Comes out every Sunday.
Like, how does this man still write this? How does he have these ideas after 23 years?
It gets less normal the more that it goes on, but it's not like JoJo.
No, JoJo got more normal as it went on. JoJo started out
JoJo, he runs out of ideas, and now like there's a stand in part 8 that's just a Lego replica of the White House.
I don't even understand. Which JoJo is coming out?
Part 9 is getting is gonna start in like 2 months, I think.
So in the next few months, we're gonna have more JoJo, more Jujutsu Kaisen, more Attack on Titan, more Demon Slayer. We're going to be busy.
And Tokyo Revengers and Bungo Stray Dogs.
Oh, those are the 2 I'm most excited about. And I forgot about
those are the less mainstream ones, but those are my favorite ones.
I feel like people are sleeping on Bungo Stray Dogs. It's so good, and nobody...
It was my favorite for a long time. That's my favorite character of all time is Dazai.
I feel like more people are knowing about Tokyo Revengers. Like, I see their merch and stuff at Hot Topic now.
Its anime didn't do that good, but the manga is like still one of the best selling in Japan. So that's why it got a season 2 so fast.
And you are reading the manga of it, or you did read the manga of it, right?
I'm not caught up, but I read the whole next arc that's going to be season 2. And it's good.
And I'm going to not make you tell me what happens because I'm going to watch it.
I
But
don't even remember. It's been a long time.
But it ended on a really bad cliffhanger.
So I'm excited for the next season because I already forgot what happens in it.
You remember the cliffhanger, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little abrupt. Here's a bullet between the eyeballs. Spy Family is something I've been watching every week, and it is so wholesome and so cute and so funny. And I have heard people say that the most attractive animated dad on TV is Bandit from Bluey. Disagree, it's Twilight. Twilight from Spy Family.
I haven't watched Spy Family.
One, he's human. So that there is a big plus. And he's a spy. And even though he's trying not to, he is falling in love with his pretend wife and loves his pretend daughter. Have either one of you watched Spy Family?
No.
Highly recommend.
Okay.
It's very wholesome. I have also been watching 7 Deadly Sins. We are on the last season. We binged
I heard it gets bad, so I didn't watch it.
It actually gets better. We've been binging it, and so it's like super pervy the first season. Meliodas is the main character, and he's like super pervy. But as it goes on, it's like it gets more intense, and it starts being
like Chainsaw Man.
More emotional.
Chainsaw Man is probably worse.
This one's not so terrible that I can't watch it, but it's definitely inappropriate.
The thing about Chainsaw Man is that, like, I wouldn't say it justifies it, but it's a little, like...
It's not just fan service.
There's, like, serious consequences to it. That are, like... I can't spoil anything, but...
I will say, the perviness in 7 Deadly Sins is nothing compared to Mineta from My Hero Academia, which people love and think is super wholesome. Or Leorio during the Hunter exam.
Leorio is pervy one time, and then
it's really bad. It's a really bad time. So what else have you been watching?
I started Bleach, but I'm still in the Soul Society arc. I haven't gotten that far.
And I stopped watching after the Soul Society arc when it got in the middle of the Bounce. I guess it's the Bounce arc. I don't know what it's called. It's about Bounce. So when Christian catches up to where I am, I'm going to start watching it again. I watched all of Tokyo Ghoul. Loved it. Highly recommend.
I watched season 1 and it was sad, so I haven't watched season 2 yet.
It gets better. Season 1 ended really sad. And then season 2 starts out super confusing.
I related to the main character, and he was, like, relatable, and then he turned into the villain. He was a good little happy-go-lucky little guy, and then he gets tortured on the last episode, and he becomes the villain of season 2.
He's not really a villain. You have to watch season 2.
I know he gets better later, but that was sad.
I'm looking at my list of things I've watched in the last year that I may not have spoken about on here. Death Parade. Death Parade is kind of creepy.
It's on my list.
And it gets a little intense, but I really liked it. I don't know if we've talked about Steins Gate. I know it's old news, but I loved it. But you have to watch 10 episodes to know what's going on.
I think it would be way better as one of those that's 12 episodes. It's 24, and it's like it drags for so long. 12 episodes, it would be perfect.
I have started watching this season of Mob Psycho 100, but I'm not through with it. But so far, I like it better even than last season. I liked last season.
I watched 2 of the episodes, and I haven't had time, but it was really good.
All of the openings for it are really good. It's not had a bad opening
of all time is the second one.
They kind of look like if you were on psychedelic drugs.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Obviously, my favorite episode of all time is episode 175 of Naruto Shippuden, Hero of the Hidden Leaf. I know some people say Shippuden and some say Shippuden, but when I watch it on the sub, Naruto says Shippuden, so that's what I'm going to say. But yeah, episode 175 of that, Hero of the Hidden Leaf. Best anime episode of all time. I cry every time I watch it. What is your favorite episode of all time?
My favorite episode is probably the Bungo Stray Dogs season 2 episode. That's like the middle of season 2 was the end of the flashback arc where
oh yeah.
I can't remember his name, but like my favorite character that's not Dazai fights the other guy that has the same power as him.
What's your favorite episode of all time?
I think it's either episode 30 or episode 32 of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But it's this Fallen War of Extermination, where you get, like, Scar's backstory, Kimberly's backstory, involving Scar, and then the actual, like, combat and, like, lore behind his Fallen War. And I'm also prone to it because Scar is my favorite character from that, or second favorite character from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
So speaking of really cool characters and shows that are coming up, I would like to point out that a show that has not announced the next season, that is not coming up, is ReZero. And we still don't know what's going on with Rim. Nobody remembers her except Subaru. She is catatonic and they have to push her around in a chair, and Rim deserves better. She deserves better than where she's at in the anime, and she deserves better than all those little trashy figurines that you can buy of her. She is not a trashy character. Have you watched ReZero?
I have not.
It is so good.
I just don't like isekais, but it's not that bad.
I'm pretty sure that is my husband's favorite genre, but even he didn't like Sword Art Online. Like, it started out so promising.
Yeah.
It had a good concept. So we were talking, I am more likely to finish one even if I don't like it because I'm a little OCD and I'm a completionist, but you do not finish them if you don't like them, right?
I will stop because I don't have that much time.
It really depends. I don't have enough time, a lot of it. I'm not the biggest fan of Overlord because it does a lot of like that fan service sort of stuff, but I'm forcing myself to watch it because there is like the political side of it that makes it a really enjoyable anime in certain parts. And then they have like full episodes that are kind of devoted to that fan service that aren't worth watching. I like to tell myself that I watch things that I don't like just so that I can actually like become more knowledgeable on like anime as a whole, but that's not always true.
If it's something like that, I might read it. Like, I think I'm gonna watch Bleach until it supposedly gets boring, and then I'm gonna read the manga.
I recommend that.
I want to watch different genres of anime, but I feel like if it's slice of life or like the romance ones, like I want somebody to be fighting somebody. I want there to be some kind of special powers.
You need to watch Angel Beats.
It's just, the name is so lame. It sounds like it's a tween band.
It is. That's what
Angel
it is named after.
I might give it a try when I get done with all the things I'm watching right now.
And the opening is really good.
So one thing that you've said is that you do not like anime where there are no stakes. You want people to die. You want bad things to happen.
I don't want, like, people don't die that much in One Piece, but there's still like stakes. Like, there are like big fights. In My Hero Academia, they have like a whole villain attack, and everybody's like, we're gonna die. And then the next season is, we're gonna have like a bowling tournament at school. and then it gets attacked by a villain, and we all have to run away, and then it's in like a tournament arc.
Okay, but it's getting kind of like Harry Potter. It's like getting darker as it goes along. So this season has been intense. People have died. People have been like really injured. They have these bullets that can take your quirk away.
Oh.
Bakugo has like stepped up and become maybe my second favorite character, maybe my favorite. Todoroki, I have a soft spot for Todoroki still. But Bakugo, he's just misunderstood. I love him. If you are watching it right now, but you are not caught up, cover your ears for the next 10 seconds because here is a spoiler. I think the Dabi reveal that Dabi is actually Toya Todoroki has been like really cool, which we knew it was coming because we got spoilers. Don't ever look for memes of anime that you're watching while you're watching it because you will get horrible spoilers. But I just thought that was really cool. I like him as a villain.
I don't think that was a good twist. I didn't watch all of it, but I think that if there's two characters with fire powers and they're both related, and then the third character that happens to have fire powers is also related to them.
But they're not the only ones in the world that have like fire powers.
They're the only ones in the show with fire powers.
I mean, nobody seems to think it's weird that Deku has the exact same power as All Might.
But that's dumb too, because All Might just so happens to be like losing his powers.
And then there's like two different boys on there that can make themselves like into metal or rock or something.
Those are just close enough, though. Like, One Piece does that, too. There will be, like, two devil fruits that are, like, almost exactly the same thing, but one of them is a little better.
We had this exact conversation.
So one thing that's funny to me is the name of the devil fruits. Tell me the names of all the devil fruits.
All of them? I can't tell you all.
5 of them.
The gum fruit, the gas fruit, there's the glint fruit, chop fruit.
So are they all, like, this one word twice?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I feel like a great marketing ploy would to be make a candy that's the devil fruits, and you just have like a bag of gummies or something, and they're all the different
people. They probably do that in Japan, but I know like here you can like go on Etsy and get like people make like cakes that look like devil fruits and stuff. But
okay, here's a question: if you could eat any devil fruit, which would it be?
We actually talked about this yesterday. I decided that for regular everyday purposes, the best devil fruit is the calm fruit. You'll need that one. It's where you can. One of the abilities is you can do like a big sphere around you and nothing inside of big sphere around you, and you can't hear anything outside of it, and no one outside of it can hear anything inside of it. So it's just like a soundproof sphere.
So I could listen to my audiobooks in the house with my children. That would be amazing.
And then another thing it can do is if you touch something, you can make it so that that thing doesn't make any sound until you decide it does again.
Okay, yeah, that's a game changer.
And so you don't think it's good for fighting, but when the guy that has it, he uses it, he gets like 2 big rocket launchers, and he does like a stealth attack on a military base because they can't hear the sound of the explosions going off. So if you like, I really like the scene. It's like the place exploding, but there's no sound at all. And
what
so
about
they can't
you?
Alert anyone.
I have 2 answers. One's just because one is incredibly like overpowered, and it would be incredibly useful in the real world, but it's also like kind of a lame answer, which is the glint fruit, which is the Logia devil fruit that you can turn into like light itself, so you can travel incredibly fast. You can fire light, which does a bunch of damage to people.
And like if somebody punches you, that part of you just like will turn into light, so that you can't be hit.
But if we're not going Logia, which are all incredibly overpowered, I think the string fruit is really cool because you can like essentially web sling like Spider-Man, which I think
that's cool.
Very cool. And in the world itself, the person who has it does it on clouds, which is even more cool.
Yeah, instead of having a boat, he just like goes on the clouds and like
sounds tiring. Like the one Luffy ate is the gum fruit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That one would be terrible because then you can't swim, right?
You can't swim if you have any of them.
Yeah.
How are you a pirate and you can't swim?
Exactly. It's because
I want a fruit that would make me be able to breathe underwater if I were to eat one of these.
The lore of it so far is that humans get like a special power they're not supposed to have, and Mother Nature is like the god of the sea or whatever, and so the sea like is angry at you.
She's gonna balance it out.
So if you have one, you can't swim.
It is funny because there's like fishmen in this series that one of them did have a devil fruit, but they could still breathe underwater. So
he just can't swim, so he
just walks under there.
You could walk at the bottom. He got stuck at the bottom, and his crewmates had to come like fish him out.
Yeah, that would not be good. If you're a pirate, I feel like you need to know how to swim.
That's why on the crew they always have like a few that don't have one. Or
so if somebody falls in, they can jump in and save them.
I think that this is gonna happen later. It's like a theory. The worst pirate, Blackbeard, or like one of the worst ones right now. He instead of having an actual bond on the crew, everybody on the crew is there for personal gain, and so they all have a devil fruit. And I think that one of them is gonna like fall in the water, and nobody's gonna go help them.
The final fight is just Luffy destroying their boat, and all of them fall in the water, and that's it. So
the last time we did a podcast, we were talking about the fact that we got JoJo birthmark tattoos. Mm-hmm. So Christian and I both have stars on our back now. And coming up in maybe January, we're about to get another anime tattoo. Describe it.
It's Hunter x Hunter, the scene with Gon and Killua pointing at each other.
And I'm going to get Killua because he is my favorite anime character of all time.
And I like Gon.
Then you were talking about possibly getting a One Piece tattoo later. What is that going to be?
Well, there's so many different like symbols from One Piece, so I didn't know which one I want to do. But I think I'm going to do the Heart Pirates symbol, which is Law's pirate crew. And then also he got the symbol from my favorite character, besides Buggy the Clown, which is in Law's backstory. And he's really cool.
What does it look like?
It's like a smiley face with a heart around it.
Do you have any tattoos, Julian?
I do not.
Do you have any plans to get any?
I don't have plans. I've come up with like a lot of ideas in the past, and I was like, oh, this would be cool in the future when I have money and all that. But
yeah,
Preach.
That's the problem.
When I have money, I'm gonna get 2 kunai knives. One that is Itachi themed and one that is Kakashi themed. And I'm really excited about that, but it's probably going to be really expensive. So what's one that you think would be really cool to get, Julian?
I think you would know, like the ASC.
Oh, yeah.
From In One Piece. That's really cool. I think small Whitebeard pirates thing would look cool.
Yeah, but not the big one on your back.
Not Ace's full back tattoo. And
there are people out there that have that.
Also, that would be very painful.
Yeah, and the American version as well, with like the cross instead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of cross and American version, I've noticed that they are finally selling Tokyo Revengers merch at Hot Topic. As to be expected, it does not have swastikas on it.
Yeah.
Which, to be clear, the swastikas in Tokyo Revengers are Buddhist, not Nazi. It is Buddhist, right? Is that what it is?
So.
Something like that. It's definitely not Nazi. You know, obviously those have a really bad connotation over here. So I guess they've worked out some licensing deal now where they can have the merch and they just take off the swastikas. And I'm happy about that because I want some merch.
What was that thing you were talking about that was the same thing?
Not really a spoiler, but at one point Ichigo's sword in Bleach changes. And the hilt of it is a swastika. Because that's like important to Japanese spiritualism, but I don't know if they've changed that for Thousand Year Blood War or not.
Because they just started animating Thousand Year Blood War.
And I think he gets it at the end of the like whole Soul Society stuff, so when all the stuff with the Aizen's over. I'm not entirely sure.
So far, who's your favorite character in Bleach?
I already forgot his name. The goofy guy that's the fireworks dude. He's the fireworks lady's brother.
Oh, the guy that's always like, raw!
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he's pretty cool. Have you watched Bleach? You got a favorite?
I read Bleach.
He like just started reading it and also just finished reading it. In like 3 weeks.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
I really like the first commander or the captain of the first division. He's really cool. His Bankai ends up being really insane. And then I really
That's not the one that's Rukia's brother, is it?
No, that's I think the 11th. No, that's the 6th. I really like Shinji, not from Ava, but there's a character who's introduced later on named Shinji, who is he ends up being the 5th captain and was the 5th captain. He's really cool. And then I think one of Aizen's like right-hand men, Jin, he has a really cool arc, in my opinion.
That's the guy with the big mouth.
Yes, he's scary.
He looks like a snake.
Yeah.
My favorite character in Bleach and the anime character I believe has the best hair of all time is Renji. I'm a big Renji fan. I mean, that hot pink hair is so cool. And after the Soul Society arc where he like comes to their high school, like how is he not the most popular guy there? And then Chad, I love that his name is not Chad, but they call him Chad. And he's such a Chad. He's like the Chaddest Chad that to ever
He's
Chad.
A freshman in high school and he looks like a 35-year-old man.
Yeah. But like if you were in a fight, that's who you'd want backing you up.
True, 100%.
I love him. I think he's great. I also like Yurichi. She's a cat.
Oh yeah.
I like her better when she has clothes on.
Oh wait,
though.
I forgot. My favorite character is the guy that trains Ichigo at the beginning.
Oh, sunglasses hat guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really cool.
He like owns the shop or whatever. Yeah.
I like him.
I like him too.
He's like Gojo. I think it might be the same voice actor as Gojo, but I didn't look it up.
Yeah.
Okay, this is something we've been talking about recently. Speaking of voice actors, dude. Meliodas is also Makoto and Nagito from Danganronpa. And he is the dub version Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan. And he's Cat Noir from, what's the name of that show?
Miraculous Ladybug.
The Miraculous Ladybug. That dude is everywhere. He is in everything. I don't watch a lot of dubs, so I don't know all the things he does, but I think he's in almost every dub of every show ever. He's great, though. He's great as Meliodas. I love his voice. It reminds me of like a 1980s cartoon. As soon as I heard it, I was like, that sounds an awful lot like Makoto.
Uh-huh.
And it was.
It's a really funny thing with voice actors. So, did you watch Brotherhood in dub or sub?
Dub.
Okay.
Yeah.
The guy who voices Rory Mustang, the Flame Alchemist, also voices the main flame guy in One Piece.
That's like his niche now.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a type.
Or niche if you're fancy.
It's one of my favorite, like, voice actor things.
So normally I don't like the dubs, but Christian assured me that it was a really good dub, and I love how over the top it is.
That is still only it's still the only anime where I will always pick the dub over the sub.
I watched half of Naruto sub, but then it got to a point, dubbed. It got to a point where they were out of dub episodes, and all that was on Crunchyroll was sub, and so we switched over, but the American voice actors for it are really good too.
Oh, I figured out the other day not to watch Attack on Titan in dub because we were watching season 4. One of our friends was watching it for the first time, so we watched.
Right, because Makoto is Eren Yeager. That makes it weird.
I think it might be a different voice for the older Eren, but Gabby's voice is so annoying. She was like,
she's annoying.
But
they really make you hate that character as soon as you hear the English dub. It's worse than the sub.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I already didn't like her. She's not a great character.
She's getting better. I
think
she's supposed to be like a good character.
She is getting better. She just didn't know. She was young, but still, she just kept killing people.
Yeah.
To be a little girl, her body count's kind of high.
That's true.
Who's your favorite Attack on Titan character?
Zeke. Is
Wrong. Levi Ackerman is the only correct answer.
Kenny.
Okay, Kenny's also good. Because he's an Ackerman. All Ackermans are good. Levi, Mikasa, Kenny.
I'm really prone to Reiner. I think his arc is incredible.
He's pretty cool.
Reiner's probably the best written one.
Mm-hmm.
He's like tragic too. Yeah. I feel like he's very tragic.
I think a lot of the most intense scenes involve him as well.
Yeah.
Just like, kind of have to put him at least top 5.
So if I had to build a team of bodyguards to protect me
Saitama
during the apocalypse, well, obviously Saitama.
That's it. That's all you need.
I would have Levi Ackerman, Mikasa Ackerman, Kakashi, Gojo, and Killua. I would be untouchable. Who would be your 2 bodyguards?
I'm only going to say ones from anime that I've seen so that I don't say just Saitama and win. Probably Luffy for one of them. I got to think of what
Would he be a good bodyguard?
I think so. If he was my friend. If he didn't care about me, then no. I'm trying to think of strong characters. I don't know. Maybe Killua.
Killua's amazing. And he will protect his friends. He's very loyal. My favorite non-Hunter test Killua scene is when he is being held captive by his family and they're trying to like get into the gate to see him, and he finds out they're there and he just like gets down from his shackles and walks out because they're not actually able to hold him there. He's allowing that to happen. Like, that's tough. He's tough. He's a tough character. And like, you can shock him and he doesn't even care. He's like, my whole life. Don't care.
I would say Dazai because he's like the strongest character in that show.
But sometimes people around him die.
Mm-hmm. But
like, he doesn't always save everybody.
It depends on the scenario because his ability is one where it just everyone has like basically My Hero Academia like powers.
Yeah.
And his power
he's Asta.
His power is that he can cancel out other people's powers. So as a bodyguard, if we're not in that universe, he won't do.
But yeah, he can't cancel out a shotgun.
But if I'm in the Bungo Stray Dogs universe and I'm specifically need to be defended from people with powers, but then also that's one where they do have powers, but there's also just straight up like gunfights.
Okay, now before I ask you yours, because we're talking about Bungo Stray Dogs, I have to tell my joke.
I don't know what the joke is.
What happens when you mix up jacuzzi and yakuza? You end up in hot water with the mob. I think it's so funny.
It's kind of funny.
It's if you know what both of those are, it's really funny. Okay, 2 bodyguards, Julian. Who would you pick? Besides Saitama, everybody picks Saitama.
Yeah, avoiding Saitama, there are 2 characters from Jujutsu Kaisen that aren't animated yet, but they both have really, really good domain expansions. And I think either of them against a human opponent would be incredible. I'm not going to say their names because I don't know them, but it's the person with like the gambling domain and the lawyer domain. They're both really good. Probably one of them, and then I feel like you have to go with someone like Zoro.
Wait, no, I got
Zoro would be good.
I figured out the best bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Barto from One Piece.
Actually true, though.
He has the barrier fruit, where he can just make 4
There's
skills.
just like a fruit of
You
everything.
can put law in, too. Like, if you get hurt, he just kills you.
Barto and Law are actually, because he's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So those are I think that combination is unbeatable.
He does the, tease immortality operation. You're set.
But then he'll die.
Yeah, but worthy sacrifice if you're really trying to just protect yourself.
That's true.
Another good bodyguard, speaking of dying and not dying, is Bon from Seven Deadly Sins, because he's immortal. So he will go all out, because it doesn't matter if he gets blown up or whatever. He will go all out to protect you because he cannot die, which is a good quality to have in a bodyguard.
In that same vein, Sato from Ajin. I would not trust him to be my bodyguard. If I had
I was thinking about strong characters, and all the strong characters are evil. So I was like, I can't pick that one. They would just beat me up.
If I had it set in stone and we're in our world, that man is the most talented person in that universe with firearms. And his fighting style, using his immortality, he was willing to make any sacrifice to his health because he can just regenerate anyway. His fighting style and his reflexes are incredible. So setting it in this world, focusing on guns as a tool, he would be probably my top 2.
I'm gonna go with also Asta, because he lives in a world where everybody has magic and he doesn't have magic, and he never lets anybody die.
That's true. So in our world, he's probably goated.
Mm-hmm. You could put Guts in too, but neither of you have seen or read Berserk, right?
You don't need to read Berserk.
You shouldn't. You can. I enjoy it, but I can't recommend it to people.
Is it inappropriate, or just disturbing, or
both.
what?
Both.
It's what a bunch of people call it the best manga ever, but it's very dark. It's very dark.
Yeah, but
I like creepy and surreal, but not
Yeah,
I think it's really dark and gory.
I would not recommend to read it, but his whole arc after Golden Age is protecting people. And specifically protecting Casco, who's a different character who is essentially at that point mind wiped and has the maturity, not maturity, but reactions of a child. So if he can protect her for that long against all the things he protects her against, he can definitely protect one of us.
I think the goriest thing I've ever watched is Parasite.
Mine is probably, if I'm not forgetting anything, probably Attack on Titan. Because I didn't watch Chainsaw Man, I read it, but it would be Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
I feel like Parasite was pretty gory, but also I don't know if it counts as actual anime because it's not Japanese. I don't know the rules.
I think it would.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it, though. Me and my 9-year-old watched it together, but it was too gory for my husband. So
I think you would like Chainsaw Man if you got past the inappropriate parts. But you watched Seven Deadly Sins, so.
But I feel like it's probably more inappropriate than that, because Seven Deadly Sins is
it's a shonen.
Little
still.
Cutesy people.
Chainsaw Man is not a shonen. I don't think it's a seinen.
A grown people thing.
It is published by Shonen Jump, but I think it's technically, it's definitely more mature.
I wouldn't call it a shonen, but Attack on Titan is also a shonen, so the line's very blurred.
That's true.
I feel like Attack on Titan definitely starts out as a shonen.
It starts as one.
And then they grow up.
Season 4, it's a seinen, though.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
And I feel like Season 4 Attack on Titan is equivalent in terms of content to Chainsaw Man.
Besides Chainsaw Man's not sexual content, but those sort of themes, yeah. Mm-hmm. In terms of violence, definitely.
Who's your least favorite character of all time, Julian?
Any of the female immediate side characters from Overlord. Specifically the main woman, because the concept. Are any of you familiar with the concept of Overlord?
Isn't she an NPC?
Yeah, so it's kind of like Sword in the Line.
I watched a couple episodes of it.
There's an MMO that's being shut down, and this guy's alone, and he's trying to he built this huge clan or whatever, and he programs one of the NPCs right before it shuts down to essentially like fawn over him. And then when it shuts down, he actually wakes back up and he's in that universe with the guy's actual powers. So there's just this NPC that's supposed to be like cold, and she's fawning over him, and that's her entire arc. And it's not even an arc. That's just her entire point, and it's all fan service. It's terrible.
Nice. Least favorite Christian?
I don't know. I'm still thinking.
One more, Griffith from Berserk.
I've heard the name. I've heard people talk about it, but
Light Yagami, Death Note, worst of all time to me. I have never completed an anime with a main character I liked less than Light Yagami.
Yeah, I mean it's.
I wanted my own Death Note so I could write his name in it.
I don't know. I can't think of anybody. Is that bad? I have to pull up my list of anime that I've watched before. Let me pull up my list.
One of the villains from Sword Art Online, like the second arc, any of those definitely. They just like do incredibly creepy stuff.
Yeah, the guy that is like trying to marry the girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was terrible. That's another reason I quit watching, is that he was just like, I didn't feel good after I watched it.
Yeah,
it made me angry, and I watch things so I can feel good. It's supposed to be my escape.
I'm looking at my list.
Have you watched Dr. Stone?
I have not.
I love Dr. Stone, and I wish more of it would come out. There's more manga written. There's just not more anime. I've read past where the anime is in the manga, and I love Dr. Stone. It sounded like it would be cheesy just when I read the synopsis, and then when I watched it, it was so good. 1,000,000,000%. So, 2 stories that seem unrelated to begin with, that I will pull them together. When Christian was little, if he would get sick, he would never want to take medicine. And he especially didn't like Benadryl if he was having an allergic reaction, because it made him sleepy. So at one point, I was trying to get him to take some Benadryl, and he was like, no, I'm not going to take it. And they had these little things that look like breath strips that you put on the roof of your mouth. And I told him it was a breath strip, but it was Benadryl. And he put it on the roof of his mouth. And then I was like, haha, that was Benadryl. And he was like, no! And he was so upset. That makes me think about Zeke's spinal fluid wine. When the people drink it, and they're like, oh, this is wine. Haha, just kidding. You're all going to be Titans now. Pulled a fast one like I did on you when you were little.
I just thought of another really good character from Attack on Titan because of the wine.
Pixis.
Not Pixis. But
Pixis is underrated. He doesn't get the respect he deserves.
Agreed.
The former commander of the Scouts. I dislike him when like the big reveal happens. No, before Erwin. I dislike him when the reveal happens, but when he comes back in season 4 or the final season part 2 to like save the Scouts that like and all the groups that beat him up,
guy.
That's such an incredible scene that like brought his character from like trash to like top 3 in my opinion, or like top 5 at least.
So one thing I haven't watched yet that I'm probably going to end up watching, but I don't know how I feel about it, is Boruto.
I've heard it's interesting.
I feel like it's cool to see all of my favorite characters all grown with children and families and all.
I think it's unnecessary. I think that's the only reason they did it.
But also,
you have to watch it.
They're gonna do 2 Piece. They have to.
But also, it's like Naruto ended so beautifully that I feel like there's no need for more. It ended happily ever after, and I was content to leave it there.
Piece. They can't make 2 Piece.
They've already made 1,000 pieces. So many pieces.
Yeah, I would fear it would end up like, I know it's not an anime, but with like Legend of Korra with Avatar.
Right, I watched Avatar, but I did not watch Legend of Korra.
Yeah, I like Legend of Korra because it has some of the cooler characters in the series, but they definitely like character assassinate Aang as a father, which I've heard they pretty much do with Naruto, so yeah.
I only ever watched the first episode of that, and as soon as I saw that Aang was like an old man, I was out. I was like, this is going to be heartbreaking. I cannot watch this. Avatar was like my gateway drug to anime.
Yeah.
I watched it, and it was the first time that I, as a grown person, ever watched a cartoon and thought, wow, that was really good. Like, that wasn't for kids. It like made me emotional, and cartoons as a grown person had not done that before. You watched
Gravity Falls?
I did, but after Avatar.
Oh, I didn't know that. Because
Genius over here tried to get me into anime with JoJo.
That was my first
choice. You never gateway somebody with JoJo. That makes somebody
because it has the music.
Never watch anime.
Walk like an Egyptian.
That ain't in season 1.
That's true.
Season 1 of JoJo is maybe one of the worst seasons of any show ever.
Yeah. It must have worked. You're here now. Watching it.
Well, I gave up on JoJo. I watched half of the first season and I was like, I'm out. And then I watched Hunter x Hunter, and that's the one that got me. Because I love Hunter x Hunter. I'm getting a tattoo of Killua. I love Hunter x Hunter.
That same thing happened to me, but with Sword Art Online. It was my first one. I watched the first season, then I stopped, and then 3 years later I watched JoJo, and then I actually started watching.
I did it with Sword Art Online and part of Death Note. And then I took
Those are two terrible ones.
I had a 5-year gap.
I love Death Note, personally, but the 5-year gap was definitely necessary after any Sword Art Online.
The only redeeming quality about Death Note to me was L. And then when they got rid of him, I was like, I'm out.
You need to read the short story that the Death Note guy wrote, where Donald Trump gets the Death Note.
Donald Trump does get the Death Note. I really like the ending to Death Note. Because it shows Light as this crybaby villain. I
do like the ending. The ending was the best episode.
In the last few parts, the only good part was the ending.
100%. Well, I don't dislike Nier, and I like the stuff with his father, but beyond that...
I thought Nier was okay, but who's definitely no L.
Yeah.
I loved L, and I was like, oh, this guy's going to be cool. They did him wrong.
Before Nier and Mello even got introduced, I had already turned it off.
That's fair. Well...
Because I probably wouldn't have. But
I stuck with it.
One of my friends said that it got bad after that part, and so I was like, "Well, I trust them. I'm not going to watch anymore."
But people told you that Promised Neverland got bad, and I thought it was fine.
I've heard that Promised Neverland got bad in the last season that they did.
I mean, it's not like on One Piece or Naruto level. Like, it's definitely a lesser anime, but I thought it was fine. It's not something I'd rewatch, but I thought it was a nice diversion. And I do like things where everybody does not die at the end.
I think sometimes characters have to die.
Yeah.
I like it when those are bad characters.
I think one good character needs to die.
I saw a meme the other day that was anime watchers, oh, I hope Attack on Titan ends good. And it's not too bad. And then it's manga readers. And it's shaking their heads.
Yeah, I still haven't read the manga, but I've seen all of those. I know it's not going to be good.
I did not read all the manga, but I read the very end of it because I had to know if Levi Ackerman lives or dies. And I know, but I won't tell. But if you want to know, you can just read the last page of the manga.
I think that a character that's good needs to die, and it doesn't even have to be a main character. Hunter x Hunter and One Piece did it, both with kind of important side characters. Mm-hmm. And Hunter x Hunter, they brought them back, but... It was weird. It was 50 episodes in between. They brought him back as a woman.
I'm just gonna say, Neji.
Baby.
I feel everybody, so many people in Naruto get to come back. Neji, forget you. You ain't coming back. And Jiraiya, he didn't get to come back either. But Neji.
Jiraiya was my favorite.
All the other kids got to come back, but not Neji. They're Neji's got to be the sacrificial lamb here that we all cry about.
Jiraiya fits that stereotype of my favorite character too. The goofy, super overpowered one.
But he's also a perv. I like Kakashi because he also fits my stereotype that I like.
Kakashi is almost like that, but Jiraiya is more. And Gojo is the best one. Gojo and Dazai are both like that.
I really like Dazai.
I'm excited for season 4. I need to
I'm just
watch
thinking
the
about
first 3
him
seasons again.
Being in a garbage can and being can you help me out? I'm kind of stuck in here. Have you watched Bungo Stray Dogs?
I've not. It's top 5 on my list right now.
Definitely need to watch it. People are sleeping on that one, and it's so good.
Yeah. I went around last year, and I was I'm finally getting back to anime. What are people's recommendations? So now I have a list of so many shows that I have to get to.
So
and you're watching One Piece.
And I'm watching One Piece of all things.
What is dude's name? Akutagawa? Is that his name?
Akutagawa.
He is Dazai's battered wife. All he wants is to be acknowledged by Dazai. Even though they're on totally separate teams now. And it's the whole reason that he wants to fight Atsushi so bad is because Dazai does acknowledge him, and he's just he's a teenage girl pining over Dazai and being just please notice me.
My least favorite anime character might be season 1 Atsushi. He's whiny.
He's got cool hair.
There's he has a moderately sad backstory, but
I'm laughing because there's a flashback in every episode
first season is
where they're like, you should die
long,
in a ditch.
And almost every episode is that same flashback of his like father figure telling him to go die in a ditch.
Every episode. It got to the point where when it would do it, we would all laugh because we're like, well, there it is.
Because like something
go down a ditch.
And like he needs to have confidence, but then he doubts himself, and it shows you should go die in a ditch. The same exact one every single time. And he's just a whiny little loser in season 1, and Dazai steals the show for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. But that's one of the reasons that you love Dazai is because he shines. But I also like Akutagawa.
I like Gojo. Gojo's my favorite character in Jujutsu Kaisen, and they like take him out so that Itadori can like do cool stuff because he's like too overpowered. So like, oh, he's out of town.
Also, so they can have villains do anything.
Yeah,
right. Because once Purple comes out, everybody else goes away.
With Bungo Stray Dogs, he's just kind of there the whole time, and he does stuff cooler than Atsushi the entire time.
Have you watched Black Clover?
No.
It's so good.
There are so many things I need to watch. Like, I'm just getting back into it from the last year.
I feel like there's so many things I need to watch too because everything I've watched has been kind of in the same vein. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I feel like I need to watch other types.
You should watch Angel Beats.
You should watch 91 Days. That's really good.
That sounds like a zombie movie. Like Day After Tomorrow,
yeah.
21 Days, 28 Days Later.
Yeah, it's actually like a mafia anime. It's really, really good.
Tokyo Revengers. When Christian was trying to get me to watch it, he's like, it's about a middle school gang. And I'm like, well, that sounds lame. A middle school gang?
It's like Chad being a freshman in high school.
But then you watch it and it's like, these people do not seem like middle schoolers.
Like a big dragon tattoo on his temple, and he's like,
how many 6th graders have you seen with a big dragon tattoo on their skull?
Very few.
They seem more like they're like 18 to 20. Mm-hmm. And it's really good.
But you do see that character's flashback where he does get the tattoo when he's like 8 years old. But it makes sense with his story. So, Chifuyu is my favorite character.
But Mikey is my favorite character on the. I'm super basic. He's everybody's favorite character, but I love Mikey because he's Mikey's OP. Cool.
They make Mikey a lot cooler
and OP.
In the manga, he gets a lot cooler.
I like characters that don't look like they would be really tough, and so everybody.
Yeah, he
sells
beats
them
up
short.
Like high schoolers.
And then like that first scene where they're like, oh, this little kid, and he like jumps up and does the splits like he's Jackie Chan and kicks people.
Yeah, because he's like short and skinny, but the big tall buff guys come up and he like just jumps and kicks him in the
and it's just like,
knocks
whoa.
Him out in one kick.
And the whole thing with his brother and everything, I felt like it also gets very emotional.
That was sad.
And he like forgave them. Also, it was a lot. I don't want to give any of it away, but you should definitely watch it. Okay, Christian, you told me there was some One Piece news. What is the big One Piece news?
It wasn't that big. It was like hyped up as being really big One Piece news, and then it was very vague. He talked about One Piece Film Red a lot, which is to be expected, which was not canon, but it was a good movie, I think. It was.
I've seen a lot of advertisements for it, and Red takes over Times Square and all that stuff.
It was a good movie, but basically he just talked about that. Oh, he did say that he had just recently had said that One Piece is entering its like final arc, and he just announced like 2 days ago in this big announcement that was a lie. Yeah. Not that it was a lie. He said, "I'm glad that now that I've said that One Piece is entering its final arc, we're getting a bunch of new readers that are going to come read and read like all the way to the finish. But I'm also happy to say that I don't plan on ending it anytime soon. You can sit back and relax and read comfortably." It's not going to end anytime soon. And then he said that during next year, at some point during the manga, that big character and that character are going to have a big clash finally that everybody's been waiting for. And I have no idea. I'm caught up and I don't know. He didn't say who.
He just said that character.
He said that character and that character.
He also said, most interestingly, that someone might die.
Yeah. He said that if he could choose any way to describe it, it would be a big battle royale. I hope no one dies. He said.
So far, I've not seen but like 8 or 9 episodes of it, but Zoro is my favorite character, so I hope he doesn't die. I mean, he could be dead already. I've not watched but like 9 episodes.
I don't think they're going to kill Zoro.
He's my favorite.
I think One Piece might kill people off, but they're not going to kill any of the main characters, I don't think.
I mean, it's possible with Elbaf coming up.
They're not killing Usopp.
They could kill Usopp.
Everybody thinks Usopp is going to die. Did you even get to... I think you might have got to the first episode that Usopp shows up.
Who is he?
He's the one that tells all the lies and he has a long nose.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think just one episode, maybe. And I was like, I do not like this animation. That's what's really keeping me from One Piece is I don't like the animation. Yeah. I like the story, but I don't like the animation.
Don't think about it as an anime. Think about it like a
90s cartoon.
But I got past it with One Punch Man because I also didn't like the animation for it.
For the longest time, I said that I said I wasn't gonna watch Mob Psycho because I said it looked like Bob's Burgers.
It does. It really does.
And now it's like top 3.
And Reagan is one of the best characters of all time.
But it does kind of
his signature moves are like the best part of the whole show. Like
it would have been like my second or third anime because all my friends at the time were telling me to watch it after JoJo, but I was like, I can't do that. They look like Bob's Burgers characters.
I just think this is Reagan's signature move where Reagan throws salt and yells. Like it's just like so lame. He's so funny. Thank you for doing an episode of Anime Fanjutsu. It's been so long, but hopefully it will not be this long again. Because we are back now. And even though they are 10 hours away from me in college, there's this wonderful thing called the internet where we can still talk to each other. So we're going to make it happen. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to follow Anime Fanjutsu on Instagram. We are at Anime Fanjutsu.